You're listening to IOE Insights, the UCL Institute of Education podcast at University College London.
This is Academia SR, the podcast for anyone and everyone figuring out life in academia.
This is Academia EL, the podcast for early career academics. I am Zainab Al-Khatib. I'm a lecturer in teacher education at the IOE UCL Faculty of Education and Society. In this series of episodes, we are going to hear stories about academic journeys, achievements, and legacy, which we hope will inspire you to embark on your own adventure as an early career researcher. Today, I'm delighted to welcome Professor Li Wei here in the studio with us. Professor Li Wei is the Director and the Dean of UCL IOE Faculty of Education and Society. He is also a Chair in Applied Linguistics. His research expertise centers around different aspects of bilingualism and multilingualism. Professor Li Wei, thank you so much for joining us today and welcome to the studio here with us.
Thank you very much for the opportunity. Good to see you.
Thank you. Firstly, it would be very helpful if you could provide the audience with an overview of your academic journey and progression to the present day.
Thank you. I'm not sure when I decided to be an academic, to be quite honest. In fact, I'm not sure I made that conscious choice to be an academic. I did feel when I was an undergraduate student that academia was an interesting place to work in, but I was never sure I would be suitable for academia. I studied English language and literature in China and had a teaching qualification to teach English as a foreign language. And I did that for a number of years. And then in 1986, I came to Britain to teach Chinese to British undergraduate students. I was very happy to teach in the university, and I did a master's degree in English language studies as a part-time student while I was teaching. It was academia itself that triggered my interest in research, but I guess life in general was kind of more interesting to me, and I had observed what looked to me an interesting phenomena, that it was somehow within 3 generations, an immigrant family's dominant language could change from one to another completely. I'm talking about immigrant and ethnic minority families, as there are many, many of them, of course.
Yeah.
So we see that the grandparents remain largely monolingual in their own home and ethnic language. The parents' generation is more bilingual, but when it comes to the children's generation, they become essentially English dominant. In fact, in some families, the children are no longer able to communicate fluently in their home and heritage language and have very little or low literacy in it. So I read around that topic and realized actually language maintenance and language shift was a major field of inquiry. So that was kind of the beginning of my academic career. I decided to study it in more detail for a PhD, and that led to my entry into academic research. You asked also about the journey so far. My interest, of course, changed a little over time. As I was doing my doctoral research, and as I understood what was happening in these immigrant and ethnic minority families and communities. So I was fascinated by the way bilingual speakers alternate between different languages in interaction, how children acquire 2 or more languages simultaneously, and how one would lose one language over time. And I was lucky enough to study these phenomena. And later on, I got a lecturing position in the speech language therapy department, teaching linguistics and bilingualism and specializing in language development of bilingual children. And that's how my academic career started. I ventured a little further from that, but remained broadly within language contact, bilingualism, multilingualism as my main areas of interest, including bilingual education, language learning, and language education policy.
Yeah. Interesting. Bilingualism is very interesting topic. I was a bilingual child, by the way. I kept my Arabic and French going, but obviously when I came to English speaking context, it's diluted. So I agree with you. If you don't keep it in practice, it disappears, isn't it?
Indeed.
Especially languages. Thank you. And that leads us to the next question. Which professional accomplishment or initiative you are most significant and proud of? I'm sure you have lost, but which one has the most significant impact and that you're so proud of?
Yeah, very interesting question. To me, it's less about the positions I've held or the awards or honors I've received, but more of what I've done that has had an impact on the field or the community broadly. So for me, I would say the most significant professional accomplishment or initiative was the launch of the International Symposium on Bilingualism and the International Journal of Bilingualism, both at the same time in 1997 when I was in Newcastle, so 28 years ago. And in fact, I am just about to go to the next International Symposium on Bilingualism in Spain next week. So the conference I set up is still going strong, and the journal is still going strong, although I'm no longer editing that journal. It created a truly global and truly interdisciplinary community, because at the time, the main reason for me to really want to organize the event and the journal was I knew that there were people like me whose research interest very much was focused on bilingualism and multilingualism. But we were seen very much as the miscellaneous group of people with a special interest in bilingualism, multilingualism, but don't belong to the main or the core areas of either linguistics or sociolinguistics or education or psychology or anything that is more kind of standard and mainstream. So when we went to conferences of linguistics or sociology or educational psychology, we were always in that special interest group. So I wanted to organize something that for us, for the people who are interested, very much focused on bilingualism, multilingualism. And lo and behold, we had hundreds of people interested in that from very different disciplinary background, all worked together and shared our different ideas and methods and approaches. And that became a truly, as I say, truly global and interdisciplinary community. And I'm really pleased that it's still going strong.
Absolutely. Sounds amazing. Is that knowledge, isn't it? Global and collaboration. Fascinating. I hope all goes well for you in Spain next week. The weather should be better.
Yes, thank you.
Yeah. And actually, that leads us to the next question. Was there any individual who inspired your intellectual development, and did their research focus or align with your research interest? And it doesn't have to be one individual, it can be sometimes
Yes.
more than one person.
That's a really hard question. You're quite right. There are lots of different individuals who really inspired me in my career and in my work and in life at different times for different reasons. So it's quite difficult to pin down one, to name one. But if
Yeah.
I was to just name one. It has to be my former doctoral supervisor, Leslie Milroy, who was a professor of sociolinguistics at Newcastle University, where I did my PhD. But she went on to be professor of linguistics at Michigan Ann Arbor before her retirement. It was the breadth of her knowledge and interest that absolutely impressed me. She knows so much about history. She knows so much about sociology and sociological theories, and never decided to just work in one narrow area from one single analytical perspective or theoretical perspective, but always open to ideas and bring multidisciplinary perspectives into her research. She's a dialectologist. She doesn't work on the topics that I'm interested in, but she really inspired me with the way she approached her research, and also her commitment to research in a very real human being kind of way. She was interested in life, and all the research topics that she worked on were really coming from real life interest. And that's why, I was also interested in this phenomena that I observe in my everyday life and in the communities that I work with. So, the way of working was very much inspired by her, and her ability to think otherwise and transcend boundaries, as I say, transcending boundaries of sociology, anthropology, and both using quantitative and qualitative methods to do her work, was really impacting on my way of working. And the way she supervised me is almost exactly the way I am supervising my doctoral students.
Oh, that's amazing to hear. I'm sure she was very inspiring. Even talking about her now inspires myself as well. Thank you so much. The last question: what academic advice do you have for early career researchers that could be staff and students?
There is a lot going on in
I
academia right
know.
now. Lots of demands,
Yes.
lots of
Lots to take
pressure.
on board, isn't it? Yeah.
Yeah, it's easy to say, build your
Mm,
resilience. I mean, resilience is clearly what we need, but that, I'm
definitely.
afraid, isn't enough. And also, it's easier said than done, of course.
Absolutely. Yeah.
Individuals have very different personal circumstances.
Yeah.
I think if I have anything to offer, I would say have a wider interest, build your networks of support, and have a good work-life balance, not in that kind of simplistic way, but really, if you have wider interest beyond narrowly focused academic research and have wider networks and different networks of support, then you can achieve that balance in life much easier, because you can talk to different people about different things for different purposes, and to be able to switch to different tasks fairly quickly. And I think that will help. That really would help. It's not just about building your individual resilience, but actually, have that variety in life. I think is important. Obviously, having a good mentor or mentors would be very, very important. People who have gone through their career and their life and have a bit of experience and good advice to offer. I think finding good mentors would be extremely helpful.
Definitely is that flexibility and open-minded approach, isn't it? That's a very, very interesting, and many thanks for your advice. And that's what we're trying to do through this episode, that to share academic journeys and achievements. So, that's a network in itself. Many thanks for your advice on this.
Thank you for the opportunity. Yes.
Thank you very much, Professor Li Wei, for joining us today. It has been very informative.
Thank you very much.
Please follow the link in the short notes to find out more about Professor Li Wei's work, as well as discovering more podcasts from the IUE. And if you like what you've heard, please give the IUE podcast 5-star rating on Apple or Spotify. This will help us to reach more listeners who may also enjoy the podcast too. Thank you, I'm Zainab, and have a good day.
Academia et al. Is brought to you by the IUE's Early Career Network and IUE Marketing and Communications. The podcast is presented by Zainab El Hatib. The theme music was composed by Ronnie Shu, editing by Teresa Baker of UCL Educational Media, and Jason Alagan is the executive producer of the IUE podcast.
Thanks for listening. Search IOE Insights for more podcasts from the IOE.